The strength of you being human lies within the ability for you to actually own your mind, which means you own your sense of self, which means you have an integrated brain, which means you also have a securely attached, non traumatized body. And that's where, with personality and wholeness in therapy, is a really great one. I got to learn about integrating 9 patterns of developmental pathways in clinical practice. Well, I got to learn about the PDP framework. And I'm still reading the book, but I got to take courses with Dr. Daniel Siegel, and I got to also take the quiz, and I know my PDP, whatever it's called. And actually, it confirmed everything that I'd heard about myself since I was a 3-year-old with my mother. My mother tells me stories, and I also have lovely interpersonal neurobiology with Dr. Daniel Siegel. I also took dissociative identity disorder and disorganized attachment. I completed that one. I completed, 2 out of the 4. Consciousness and change, really, really awesome. And so a self-agent I am. And anybody who is a self-agent is going to be in our 5D collective of mystics, spiritual, and mindful living and loving people, because you actively do take thoughts and emotions as your own. So you can also use this. I don't find myself as intrigued as I read through it, but I do this thing with my 14-month-old. I say, okay, nobody's trying to fit you in a box. It's okay. You can keep reading this and allow yourself to remember the subcortical areas of your brain actually match a lot more than this. And that's because this is based on not the brain. Well, Dr. Daniel Siegel, it's brain on subcortical motivating areas. So I'm using words Maria's way. Remember, I'm the pseudoscience woo lady, because the science is people look into stuff. This person, I believe, is part of also the other book, and PDP framework has the foundation with this. So I'm not the sciences lady. Now, this is awesome. This is when I found out about our social construction of reality, which is why when I heard a man saying, let me tell you what writing is, it's magical powers, because every mind will be manipulated by your words. Only the ones who are lost boys, lost girls, lost days, who follow Peter Pan's, who then follow Wendy's, and I know who they are. It's called the 3D 4D collective. It's okay. They don't know about Sam Harris and how to stay grounded in reality, which is every single one of my cherishable opinions or beliefs can be falsifiable. I do, because I'm a smart brain. Because SMART brain, my acronym, stable, mature, adaptive, rational, teachable, which I got the idea of acronyms from Dr. Daniel Siegel, it's because I have a higher self in the lead. Yes, and all these words don't really mean much to Maria, because I was that when I was a teenager. I was that when I was an adolescent. In fact, I told you my lovely adolescent story, a little bit of it, with the hypnotherapy session. Yes, I get to experience pure vulnerability. Amazing. From a child's perspective who doesn't have brokenness, but sees all these children pretending in a very mean way to not be vulnerable. And I'm like, you're all pretending not to be vulnerable, because you are vulnerable. You're liars and you're weak, and I'm not, and I'm confident. And there's your ventral vagal stance right here. And it's anchoring ventral energy. When a securely attached, non-traumatized person looks in the eyes of anybody who has child parts that are not healed yet, they will have one of 2 ways to respond to it. I won't respond to it. I actually have emotions. It's called discerning equanimous love. Thank you, God. God is that to me. That's his exact timbre. And that's because I wasn't broken by the very same caregiver who is also a human being, who was able to give me everything that my child self needed. Because, see, being able to attune, it's a third of attuning to the nervous system of another kid. And then it's repairing ruptures, meaning when I make a mistake, I explain to you what happened, I apologize for my behavior and stuff like that. Also, self-regulating is important. So I have a whole self. That's why personality patterns, yes, they don't rule me. My temperament doesn't rule me, because I'm a securely attached, non-traumatized whole self. So when you're a self-agent, this is really awesome material to read. And when you don't like all of it, this is because I'm not a box, and you're putting me in one without any kind of data makes me know, you have a story. I don't like your story. It's not matching up. The data, why the data? Because brain scientists give you data. The ones who don't want to believe in it, they say, Maria, neuroscience, no way, it's true. And you're like, okay, whatever, but The Art of Loving, first book where I'm like, finally somebody who understands how I love. It's a verb. It doesn't go up and down. It's consistent. Stephen Porges confirms the same thing with me, and he doesn't write a book because of the publisher saying people think love is drama. But he's like, no, actually, you can only be in a state of physiological love. The oxytocin gene hormone is on when you have a nervous system that is in the ventral vagal state, and you're using your prefrontal cortex. So for people who will not become their higher self or self-agents, or basically don't get the luck of having their 3-year-old whole, determined. Robert Sapolsky tells you that you have no free will, so that gives you an excuse to stay in what is called suffering. And really, the fourth step to healing trauma charges is that teenagers get together. They're grown-ups, but they're adaptive child part people, and then they together with Peter Pan, and they don't heal anything. They re-traumatize themselves on a wheel. They use the dark sides of neuroplasticity, not the bright sides, and then they just keep on saying, no, those are the wrong ones. Flat earthers, thank you for being out there. You are a perfect example of people coming together because their subcortical area of motivation is bonding. And they have meaning with each other, and I don't do bonding. My areas of motivation involve, number one, physical safety. God told me I'm physically safe. That's it. Oh, no, number two, I'm so sorry. Self-agency, right here. Mom, you can't spank me, it's my body. No, I said, you can't spank me, it's my body. And then she spanked me. And then I went to make my suitcase because you disobeyed a very straight command from this body and this mouth. And Dr. Daniel Siegel is the one who's like, that's really great, Maria. You are already a differentiated self. So Maria's thoughts and emotions are not influenced by the very primary caregiver who's the only lifeline. I'm 3, remember. I am not down in shame. No, I'm with my angry little butthole getting onto my suitcase to go somewhere else. Because you don't have one alloparenting figure when you are with a herd. You will have minimum 5. Doesn't have to be father, sister. No, it'll depend on you. I know who mine were and who mine are still. And there is the very big equation of the people who you will care about what interactions have, the relational stuff. Yes, so I don't have relational trauma. Yeah, I still stand up in my 3-year-old and tell my mother what I think, and my twin, and they both know my tone, and I know it too. And I say, I'm so sorry, my tone. But I am working on it. I'm working on remembering that neither one of you is imposing your will upon me. And I'm trying to tell my 3-year-old it's okay. You don't need to get into your little anger pissy pants, because that's actual self-agency. So self-agency brings anger, and I don't need to correct any person's behavior. And in my relational field, again, I'm a grown-up now. So this is how you use your higher self. So the strength of being human and your humanity come when owning self and consciousness. I see so many people out there who don't own shit, and they actively think humans are dumb. So when this man is talking about writing, being mystical and magical, I'm like, okay, I get what you're saying from the historical perspective, but you actively think like that other man that all humans will need a silverback. I know no. Self-agent humans won't, because they use their brain in an integrated format, 9 domains of integration. They will own the sense of self because they'll own the core narrative solo relational self, because they will take care to be their higher self, which isn't some fancy label. No, it's actively like this. I'm not a special group, or not. We're all special. Or maybe not. Maybe we're all ordinary. And those who don't like it, again, they like stories, which is why, that's bullshit. Okay, sure. Neuroscientists say it's not supernatural to be in the flow state. It's part of your human makeup. Your brain can do it. Mine does it all the time. Download, channeling. The 4D won't know about it because they refuse to go and get that brain integrated. And it's a sad story, but we have a story for them. Yes, lovely short by this Shaolin master as he answers, what is Buddhism? I'm not a Buddhist. I'm a Christian Catholic who's a mystic who's not welcomed by all Christian Catholics, but Christianity is the umbrella of the religion, and then the other monotheistic religions. And when you learn about the religions, they all wanted to do the same thing that true spirituality is all about. Life of meaning and connection beyond the solo self, bringing us together with our diverse backgrounds, which leads me to, remember, we have a lovely book coming out. I am honored to be a co-author of it. And let me do a little bit of sharing in case you don't know. So I shared yesterday my hope for the reader of my chapter, God is Discerning Equanimous Love, in the book, The Ways to God. It's 2 shorts. One is 3 minutes and 8 so that it can have the full length of it, but the other one was so that it could get in front of people. So, you check out only one of the 2. You don't need both. And then the pre-order link is available on the community page if you're curious. And then on June 28th, when it's published, the hard copy and or paperback will be able to be ordered. But for now, it's only ebook. So we get to share our personal experiences in relationship with God, the divine, alongside our diverse religious and spiritual backgrounds, which is one of the reasons why you would read it, is that you're interested in hearing the different stories of us. I explain and share how I had a good catechists, a bunch of them. No, none of them made me think God was evil, mean, and monster. No, but also, again, I'm a self-agent. So my mother, she, and I myself. Oh, the body is what matters, the embodied brain. The first year of your life, you have no words, just so you know. The second year is when the words come in, and I'm not ruled by my masculine. In fact, I find masculines very dumb when they're not working with their feminine, because you all have it. And if you are an empowered brain, then you're going to be an integrated brain, which means that the left, which is right, wrong, works with the right, which is not about right or wrong. It's a consilience and a logical approach. And they come together and create the actual rainbow. So black and white comes with rainbow, and you don't be in your rigidity, unforgiveness, harshness, which is the and those are all ignorant people. To me, they don't know about smart human beings, and they don't even know sometimes in school how to do smart human beings, because you'll meet egos everywhere. I have one too. Difference is mine works with myself. So the power of being human is that the strength lies within your mind, your brain, your body, yourself, only if you own it. Otherwise, your 0-8-year-old owns you, and I'm going to notice, and I won't be doing much about it. The Shaolin Master, what is Buddhism? He says, it starts with the following truth. The first one is the life. The existence we are living in, it's connected with suffering. And if you say, no, it is not, then you don't need to follow Buddhism. He says, if you don't believe it's a truth. No, it's not. And this word truth, even that. So one, Sam Harris, thank you for your quote. If you're grounded in reality, any of your cherishable beliefs or opinions will be falsifiable. The smart brain knows that your brain don't fall out of your ass, that there's a bunch of subject matter experts, and any of those subject matter experts who limit anything, I'm just like, wow, you're so involved in your own topic. Great, I'm involved in mine too. Mine is infinite higher human consciousness potential, and you being you. That's why it has no agenda except for I'm being me, you can be you, and mentorship is for the ones who are self-agents, because the other ones who want a pat on the back, they don't like me because I don't pat you on the back. I say, no, I don't. I learned as a teenager how not to flinch at all so that I don't have to waste time with half-brained people. Today I know what they are. I don't like fakos. Pause self. My lovely facade friend helped me how to understand when people are in a group. Oh, yes, they're group. So I don't do when I'm with a group, Maria changes. Maria's consistently the same, and when the group doesn't like it, it's okay, because I met the adolescents who actively, as I'm being vulnerable and no shame is involved, they get into this meanness of I'm not vulnerable, but their meanness is not a Lucifer. No, it's a coward, and it's a distorted one. And then I'm like, but wait, they're actually angry, trying to protect themselves because they feel vulnerable. I get that, because I am vulnerable, but they're now acting unkind to me for no other reason except for they're wearing a mask. So when you begin to wear masks with your subconscious, I'm not going to be following along, because that's the part I didn't hide. Maria's subconscious, so she's consistently an empowered feminine, because pure essence of all emotions. Wow. They're amazing. I mean, really, fear is the most challenging to face, but vulnerability, as I got to experience it in my hypnotherapy session, there's no suffering. I know why Buddhism, the suffering, yeah, I remember opening the book of Siddhartha. He sees his town full of suffering and leaves. I'll be back later, Siddhartha. Jesus came back, and I don't know why you left. You were a prince. You could have actively made a difference. Today I know what Buddhism, meditation, yoga support the human body. Yes, ventral vagal toning. And as Peter Levine points out, actually, when one piece of trauma memory gets moved from your muscles, bones, and tissues, the rest unravel, which is why one lady said, you can't heal me, only God does, and you must be the devil. And she leaves her session from Peter Levine. And he's a therapist, and this is in one of my courses with him, and I'm like, wow, okay. So, again, the book that I mentioned, the full title, The Ways to God, A Spiritual Mosaic, Discovering God Through Many Perspectives. It's myself and other 8 amazing spiritual authors. The release date, June 28th, for the hard copy and the paper copy. If you like ebooks, then it's already available for pre-order. And my chapter is titled God is Discerning Equanimous Love, which is actively how I experienced my Christian and Catholic upbringing. And when I got to my 19 years of age, I'm like, hey, God, so I don't see evil anywhere. No Lucifer, a bunch of cowards, yes. They all are unkind. You made it very clear what the choice was, kind, unkind. So there's your free will. Robert Sapolsky of Determined says we have none, and I understand because, as Peter Levine points out, muscles, bones, tissues is where trauma memory is stored. As it unravels, Pat Ogden points out, and Bezel van der Kolk, that it's all sensorial, and your first 3 years are implicit, so you'll be behaving with your trauma time, as I noticed those adolescents with their brains decided to begin getting in their hissy fit. I didn't. I said, I'm not going to do it. I learned how not to do what the peer pressure group is doing. I did. I will not speak of, oh, how proud are you? No, I'm not, but I'm not like, oh, I'm ashamed. No, because the grown-ups told me. They explained this is what's going to happen when you all start to copy each other and be idiots. No, I'm adding the words, but essentially they gave you the so if your friends throw themselves off a bridge, are you going to do it? No, I actually learned how not to do it, because I did do it in water though, and I did say, Maria, you don't like heights. Why are you doing this? You're so stupid. Now you can't get down. You have to. So I learned in a matter of 3 years, you're all stupid, you're all dangerous, I will rat you out, I will take, you keep coming with the names. I don't give a shit. You touch me, I'll go to the principal. You touch me again, I'll go to the teacher. You keep talking. That's annoying. Yeah, I'm okay with being annoying as a teenager. Then I grew out of it, and then I met those who were a bit like me, and they didn't grow out of it. And well, let's just put it this way. Those who are black and white thinkers are not of interest to the ones of us who are expanding, because it's not black and white. It's a rainbow of colors, and take me as I am, God, for I am imperfect. But I do know what repenting truly for a sin means. It means that if I feel shame, I do when I've done something wrong, and I will apologize and or I will make amends. I will be proactive. So if I can't apologize, I will do something. I will know what I can do to make up for it. I will not whine about it. I will not talk about forgiveness. I will not talk about it with a weak energy. The weak energy that I'm expressing is when a person doesn't put their hand on their conscience and say, yeah, it feels like shit right now, but those emotions are telling me something. And it is not about re-traumatizing yourself. It's about allowing it to come forth. You know how we process all of those charges? Through tears, which is the very one thing those little teenagers began not doing. And they began only doing the anger thing. And then you see teenagers who are grown-ups who still think that that's how you stand up for things. The strength of being human is having the depth of the emotional plane available to you, which is why when I talk to you about love is when you are and have emotional maturity and mental mastery, that's the only time you're going to know your humanity. And that's because you own the self, the sense of self, core narrative relational soul of self, without the need of a pat on the back of anyone. It's called secure, attached, non-traumatized. It's I self-regulate in Maria's ventral vagal state, and I will stand in my VBS in the presence of a group that is actively behaving in ways that as a piece of pure consciousness, anima mundi, and science talks to you about being a conduit for this intelligence, and God talks to me in discerning equanimous, loving tones, and I will share as a spiritual being who is also a human being. Determined, Robert Sapolsky, come on in. My first 3 years of life, she didn't get broken, nor did my 8, nor did my 11, and when I saw the cowards, I said, I ain't gonna be a coward. I choose love. Thank you, Jesus, Holy Spirit, God, and I choose to stand and be kind, even if I can't prove it. Because I know if I'm a liar, and I know what truly repenting for sins means. In my grown-up brain, which I thought all grown-ups were, but no, not all grown-ups apparently know what being connected to Purusha, pure consciousness, or Prakriti, pure energy, which means they don't know how to use their prefrontal cortex like that Zen master. And their story about the suffering bit keeps them in their temporal junction. So when somebody's not accessing their flow state, but they want to come talk to me with their little mouth of a teenager, I'm going to listen because I love learning shit. Especially because, again, when you read something like this, you're like, wow, so it's all made up. But I'm not going to say the moon doesn't exist. Gosh, what the heck? Really? Or the earth doesn't exist. I am grounded in reality. I mean, and anyways, that Alice in Wonderland spiral can go many, many places. So like Bill Nye, or Nay, however his last name points out. Yes, even if this matrix thing, the way people talk about it is, you really think you're going to uncover it. And there are those who say yes. And I say, haha, pseudo-live. Wow, you're really enjoying, Elsa, your journey. And no, I don't think it's funny, but God keeps reminding me not to judge human suffering because I judge it as a waste of time. That's why he tells me it's not good or bad. I stopped casting stones as a teenager. You're good. You do not do drugs. Good. You followed the law to a T. You're awesome. You study. You're great. Come. Yes, you're in. Bad. You do drugs. You are part of those groups that get into trouble and you don't have each other's back. And no matter how many times you say you do, I've seen you grow up. You still have nobody's back because on drugs, you can't really have anybody's back. You're really losing it by the minute. And that alcohol isn't helping. And yeah. So when I see a 3-year-old in action, though, that actively is going to do something that you're like, wow, superpowers come out of nowhere. And that's when Robert Sapolsky determined, come on in. So there's a lot of different ways you see what a person's character is made of. And character doesn't mean they're perfect. No. Character means personality patterns, temperament again, and that which they will care about. Even if it's self-serving in a way, shape, or form, the reality is that your 3-year-old doesn't actually think. Even though by the age of 2, you're beginning to be told stories, but they're told stories about you, which is why I don't rule with my 2-year-old. I rule with my body, and my thoughts work with my body. And really, we're always on a consistent roll with our ventral vagal state bliss, and that is because of the energy that comes from being an integrated brain and a restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating person. Okay, so that's what mindfulness, mindset, and mindset support. Being yourself is this. I now know all the words in the book. I'm going to keep learning, but the strength of being human is you're not manipulable. So reading books doesn't manipulate your consciousness unless you're subject to nothing, because you don't own yourself, which is very plausible. Yeah, it's very possible. 14-month-old, studies show they will want to play with the teddy bear that likes the same yogurt they do, and they will play hostile or not want to play at all with the teddy bear who doesn't like the same cereal but likes the cereal they don't like. And then other studies show if a person's on the floor and they have the same football team jersey that your town is from, you're going to lift them up. They have the opposing team, you don't. And then if they have a neutral shirt, half yes, half no, which I'm like, wow. So teenagers are bountiful. That's pause self people, adaptive child part people who need Terry Real and Patrick Tan to learn to be themselves, because they need to still learn how to love themselves first. I don't look up to cowards. I don't look down to them. I'm not God. I am imperfect. I'm a coward too, but I know that fear will stay, as will be vulnerable. So I won't be like, oh my God, you're teasing me about it, so you must be brutally evil. No, you're not. You're actively a buffoon. That's all you are. And today I know that that buffoon, it's a very sad business to not heal your inner child, because that inner child did the best it could, like those 11-year-olds, to stand up for that which they thought, no, they felt. I don't think. Your left mode comes on after. Their child part, 11-year-old, felt vulnerable like mine did, which is why I get to feel the pure essence of vulnerability, because I didn't hide it away. I didn't make it an exile. I didn't pretend it wasn't there. I was like, wow, yeah, I'm vulnerable. I have vulnerability. I have emotions. It's the most amazing thing. Why would I ever hide my heart when it's the most amazing feeling to be able to be open-hearted? Which is why when people want to quantify love, no, it's a verb, like the self is, the art of loving. So when you're a consistent verb, that's why you can be consistent consciousness, as the course with Dr. Daniel Siegel. So science and spirituality bring together for this person who brings human, spiritual, and spirituality from my subjective experiences. The strength of being human is you being you, but it's with all your child parts, and mine are all tended to, because I'm a securely attached, non-traumatized person who has a self-agent. And when people don't like it, I don't do anything about it, because what I noticed as a teenager is people don't like actual confidence. They want you, like the flat earthers, to take their side. I don't take your side. I'm Maria. You don't understand. I'm a differentiated self, and I have a twin, and we're different, and so again, determined with Robert Sapolsky. But as Stephen Porges points out, it's not the events that happen to you. It's your embodied brain, meaning the nervous system, that will be the decisive factor, because I'm sensing the world outside of me from the womb with my implicit memory and then my explicit. And so I get to say, maybe it's my genes, because there's studies that show that genes give us a bigger window of tolerance to the depth of emotions. I don't have clinical dissociation. None of my panic attacks, none of when I've seen things that I see from Akashic record downloads, past life regret, all of it. I will be present, so much so that 4D finds it weird, and then they tell me not to share the experience I'm having in, for example, reconnective healing sessions or in another type of session. And I'm like, I thought you said you wanted to hear my experience, not correct me when I'm giving you what I'm remembering of it. I don't understand how you are even bothering correcting me. So, long story short, the relationship with your humanity, it is when you own the self, and thank you, Dr. Daniel Siegel, Fox, Bezel Van der Kolk, Stephen Porges, Pat Ogden, Janina Fisher, Peter Levine, a bunch of smart human beings out there who tell everyone who wants how to basically begin, Patrick Tan, Terry Real, to become their true self versus stay a pause self, which really doesn't mean much of anything except for you're a coward, not a Lucifer, not an evil, not a badass. Light work, shadow work on screen doesn't mean anything except for, wow, structural dissociation. Oh, cognitive dissonance. Oh, there's Braveheart again. Oh, look, they're standing together, yelling, cheering each other on. When I see cheerleaders and jocks, I just think, wow, Peter Pan, who's the leader of the pack today? Who's the follower? Are you changing it up? Is Wendy the same? Did you get good decentralization of the self in this yoga experience and that meditation? Who are you talking bad about now? Because that's what happens when brain doesn't know how to be in two sides all at once, and it's not hard. Again, self-agent though, higher self. So when I'm hearing, I'm a person who knows how to be polite. Shh. I actually don't talk over people. Also, I know what I do know and what I don't know, which is why I listen. And when I hear a story, oh, I'm getting to find out about their teenager, how proud they are of themselves, how much work they do. Okay. I thought this was going to be a subject matter experience of, stuff that was actual data, but it's okay. I'm getting to know one of my brothers and sisters in the rainbow that they get to experience, so it's awesome. I get to meet the Flat Earther group. Great, awesome. And so now let me move on to another. And so you find those who are packed with their silverback, and then you find the ones who you want to be around more because they expand consciousness. So I love Dr. Daniel Siegel. I love Bezel van der Kolk. I love Janina Fisher. I love all Bethany Ruth Lanius, the people who teach me how strength of being human, the smart neuroscientists. So you being able to be all of your humanity, again, own core narrative relational solo self. You own your emotional and mental plane. You become a master of it to the point of where mindfulness, mindset are not painful. Until they are, then you want to expand a window of welcome to affect and a window of welcome to emotions. And that means a Pat Ogden. It means a Bezel van der Kolk. It means to be grounded in reality. And no, the smart trauma experts are not trying to hold anybody back. Is that you using the dark sides of neuroplasticity has you wire yourself shut in. So the teenagers that I meet out there, they're the same ones who, like those 11-year-olds, wear masks. And I don't do masks, but I learned how to disregard them as masks, because when you say, so where'd you get that persona, that identity? Oh, no, it's who I am. Your mask tells me that you have vulnerable child parts who completely will not know how to handle shit as it gets thrown at you. But it's okay. I won't be throwing shit at you because I'm not one of those. I won't change because you don't know how to behave in your healthy self-worth boundaries because you don't have any. I will repeat myself consistently with discernment and equanimity and love, like God is to me, Maria, and as my mother, as I was growing up, and any parent who gets to do a third attunement, repairing ruptures, is because that's where the consistent, contingent communication comes from the mouth of a securely attached, non-traumatized human being to you. And that's my body. So I tell you my experiences with my caregiver, my primary caregiver, my household, my life, mine. Yes, this 3-year-old right here, not because you are me. No, you're not. You be you. I'm letting you know I'm me. And when I hear somebody telling me that writing will manipulate the brains of people, I just think, wow, you keep on thinking humans are dumb. You must forget who created us. You really don't know when someone says God made you in the image you want. Like, what the heck? No, I'm sorry. Your ego wants to be a special group. So you disregard the fact that all people are created in a specific way. No, however you want to twist and turn it, I will continue to go back to I'm not God. I get accepted by God. I got created by God. I got Jesus showing me the way. No, there's no suffering. This suffering thing makes me think of, oh, I leave my town and go sit under a tree. This was my reaction to reading the first chapter, first lines of Siddhartha. I'm like, what? What? Huh? Sit under a tree? What are you doing? Get up. Get up. Go. Why are you sitting under a tree for so long? Your life is gonna... Yeah, no, I didn't do all of that. I'm just saying, I'll come to you later, because sitting under a tree didn't mean anything to me except for I'm sitting down. Today I know again why that supports people who need the meditation, the mindfulness, the yoga, the actual practices that the smart therapists are sharing, not the spiritual bypassers. That's the spirituality soul age group. That's for another time. We have different soul age groups. I'm in the enlightenment soul age group, and I know it, and I know it because I know when I got in it. Sadhguru answers a question from somebody in the audience who says, so how do you know when you're enlightened? Or in the enlightenment, I don't think they use soul age group. He's like, you'll just know, you won't ask. And I'm like, yep. That's exactly how it works. You also don't need to be flaunting it around like it's some mantle. Well, guess what? You also don't need to be, I'm not. It's not like I'm enlightened. So when you see people who are still very unsure of how to claim that which is theirs because they think of it as something that is on a, yes. And when people say, they can't treat it like it's a normal thing, that's also I don't put anything on pedestals. So when you're a self-agent, nothing goes on a pedestal. And when you know of God and you come with God, again, nothing goes on a pedestal, which is why being of spirit makes a big difference. But being of science, Robert Sapolsky determined, ordinary people will say, oh, no free will. I would say, no, some scientists tell you can own your brain by going to good therapy. And then you can, as you expand, because once you become integrated, so the strength of being human and your humanity, again, it comes when you own the sense of self, when you own that which is the expanding consciousness version of you. If you want, you don't have to be a restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating person. You don't have to do mindfulness, mindset, and you don't have to believe in anything that pseudoscience woo lady says or that the smart researchers and scientists say, because I have met people say, I saw the demonic possession, Maria, so neuroscience. And I'm like, look, I'm a mystic. No. the minute they tell me, ha ha ha, I just say, yeah, I know, because I know of demonic possession. I have heard of the stories. And no, I haven't seen it because I've been to the lower planes and because I already told God, there's no Lucifer. But I do see cowards out there as they wear their masks, and now with attachment trauma, I just feel bad for every person. No, I don't. That's disrespectful. I'm not God. If somebody wants to be their paw's self, so be it. They can go prance around with Elsa and have fun. I spot them like a hawk. And then we make fun of them with Disney, Pixar, and all of the Back to the Future chicken. As a teen, I'm like, yeah, you can keep doing that. I learned how not to I don't give a shit. You're actively annoying me, and I'm scared, and I'm not going to play with you anymore. It's serious. I don't care. You don't know. I don't take jokes well. Nope. I'm learning how to take them well, but I'm also learning how I won't hang out with you because you're not fun to be around. Oh, am I supposed to be around people that I'm not having a good time with, that actually laugh as they throw fireworks at my feet and make me jump and make me scared and light my jacket on fire? This was an event that actually happened. I met the individual again because they're in our friend group. Yes, so here's what happens when you have the people who have no boundaries and they're like, oh, but the poor person. No, this person's still a fucking asshole at the same time. Yes, are they human? Of course they are. Did they have a shit? Yes, I actually can tell where their shittiness, quote unquote, comes from. It's from a dysregulated feminine. Yes, I know exactly what the dynamic is. I ain't going to describe it on screen, but having two human beings who justify the asshole versus three of us are like, well, okay, look, the person is still the prankster. Anybody watch Dennis the Menace? Okay, so yeah, sure, we can all have a good time, but at a certain point, at a certain age, that's no longer fun, and your maladaptive patterns of behavior, which is your poor inner child not healed, is actively not Lucifer at all. It's bad taste for grown-ups who have healthy self-worth. I'm not a functional adult. I'm a functional child adult. No, I will be like, okay, look, I got it. You perceive the little child poor, but poor what? They're still the same asshole who's still making the same asshole-ish jokes that are not fun, and now we're grown-ups. And, at the end of the day, nobody has to exclude anybody, but we will reiterate our same healthy boundaries without actually shaming, because that's the whole point. We don't have to shame somebody, but we also don't have to condone the behavior. So there's always discernment, wise, good judgment, equanimity, calm and centeredness, and love, thank you God for that tone, in a body that is a restorative, self-aware, accountable, regulating, securely attached, non-traumatized, whole self person who has child parts asleep and a prefrontal cortex with an integrated brain online and in the forefront, because my default mode network it doesn't regulate based on scanning me and you. No, it's down-regulated, and that's because I'm confident. For real, from my mental, emotional, and physical plane of Maria. So the mastery is be thyself. Yes, and then wear yourself with honor by not doing anything that you would be ashamed of. Have integrity. Integrity is of a functional inner child adult, because they will not be self-serving in a way of emotional immaturity. They will be self-serving like any other amygdala on the face of this planet, because that's the part every body will protect its host. My body will always be a coward because fear will take over if I'm in physical danger, number one. And I'm 4'9", and so I do not know what my 3-year-old will do. I know Robert Sapolsky makes a point of spelling out, yeah, you won't. And when you see somebody who stands up, who is a little fish stick, who's breakable, and goes to save the day, and then you got a big giant who actively scurries away the little butthole, and nobody notices the micro movements of that body, and nobody takes seriously child parts, and the 3-year-old, you're like, yeah, I know who I'm taking to my island, and I think I'm going to take a trio or more. I want 5 men. Can I choose 5 of the men? I got number 1. Got number 2 because I've signed them in action. Got number 3 just because, looks at the end of the day. And then I got a couple more that I might want to integrate into the herd, So here's what an empowered feminine knows. And an empowered masculine too. We'll pick them. Yes, we'll be selective. We'll also watch. And not because we're trying, because, life. Pinocchio, how's that island? You end up in situations where you're like, okay, really? I didn't think I was going to babysit today. And the fact that I'm able to soothe somebody's nervous system they made me do drugs, Maria. No, you're a grown up. Did they have a gun to your head? But I can't tell you that, because as you're telling me this, I'm just thinking, why? Why me? No, I'm not. I'm actually not thinking about that. I think I'm so sad that these people that said they didn't know you are friends of yours, like those high school adolescent cowards that I remember not knowing each other after actually peer pressure. I'm thinking, wow, your friends are really not friends. And oh my gosh. And I found out, so if you don't like hearing sad stories, please fast forward, that this human being that I had to babysit an entire evening, who left better off than before, but really not, is potentially physically dead. And the friends who offered the person drugs, or they made me do it, knew that he was on some type of medication for his depression or whatever it was. And so I'm thinking, ignorance, teenagers, grown-ups, what are you? This is not Lucifer. This is not a monster. This is, you all need Patrick Teahan and Terry Real. But why are you always talking about trauma stuff? It's not important. I want to go and do meditation and yoga today. I'm going to go and I want a Reiki session. I want Akashic. I want tarot. Yeah, I'll give it all to you, but you won't unlearn any of that, which is self-loathing, gut-wrench, torn apart, maladaptive patterns of behavior, inner critic, outer critic, and all of that, drinking, drugging, fucking, and then a 50-year-old plus man, they made me do drugs, am I not decent enough to be saluted, is ridiculous. This is not insulting. It's ridiculous on a human being level. So a person going on BBC and saying mystical and writing is magical powers, and it will, yeah, you know who it manipulates? The same people who follow Son of 14 Charming don't go get themselves healed, don't understand the power of their brain, mind, self, and body, because, oh, I'm so sorry, you're always talking about trauma. No, I actually was not, until I began to become aware, and I'm like, wow, okay, seriously, people, get the compassionate mind online and find a good time. So here at IHP, I am looking forward to compassionate minds, to empowered self-agents, not to the ones who need a pat on the back, because actively I don't do pats on the back. And actively, when I see facades, it reminds me of my friend. So people who gang up on each other, quote unquote, that doesn't mean anything to me. I'm in the presence of my facade friend with another 2 or 3 men as they talk about not believing in anything, God, mysticism, But I wasn't concerned with that, because I already know not everybody does have spirit. I love that sciences can help anybody who wants to become a person of integrity, number one, because that's what a functional adult is. Again, let me read that before we go. Integrity. It is not about the action, but its purpose, even though actions also matter, but purpose meaning intent, which you don't have the ownership of your own intent if you don't own your subconscious and conscious, which is made very clear by my facade friend and any people who change each other's minds as they hang out with each other and influence each other. We also have what's called a relational field, but when you're securely attached and non-traumatized, it's because you self-regulate independently from others. Your mood swing, yourself, whatever's going on in there ain't going to affect Maria, because she's got a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old. My child parts are all mine. My nervous system is all mine. My emotional plane is all mine. And if you use any words to insult me, which one? where I already learned how to handle the cowards when I was an actual adolescent, which is why growing up doesn't sound like an egotistical anything or manipulative. Am I not decent enough to be saluted? Doesn't even sound desperate. It's just like, it's not about decency. I said, in my body I'm laughing, because I'm like, oh shit, now I have to talk to them. I wasn't laughing at them. That would be not nice. I don't have that type of let me laugh at you. Although I do laugh at liars. And that's when my friends, some of them who have a good eye, Maria, I got one of my friends, he spotted me twice. I was like, I didn't do it on purpose. Stop pointing it out. I don't want my friend to think that I don't think highly of them. I do, but they're lying right now through their teeth and they don't notice it and they're so lost. Stop. So anyways, nobody notices except for me and this friend of mine, but yeah, he definitely could get me into trouble, and he doesn't mind because he's okay with pointing out people's weaknesses, and sometimes on purpose, and I'm not, because that's not really my place to point out that, okay, you really don't know what you're doing, do you? Like, really, you just made a false statement about yourself and I'm noticing it. So you can't hide anything, which is why I don't lie. Also, I don't have to. Why would I lie about who I am and what I'm saying? But you can't prove it either, so you learn how to leave it alone. People who don't trust you. Okay, so if you don't trust my words, then we shouldn't be here. Because no, I'm serious. I'm not trying to manipulate. If you actively accuse me of lying to you in a way of, I mean, we can talk, because I actually am also faulty of things. You don't believe me. I don't think you. Let me hear it. So again, we all can have these things, but when you have a good relationship, you have fun and talk about it. And so yeah, for me, it's if you don't trust my words, this isn't really going to work. So I have clairs. I know what you're feeling and thinking. No, you don't. How dare you? I've had mystics do this shit. Integrity is not about the action, but its purpose. The question is, are you doing what you do for the larger well-being or your personal benefit? So those who have functional inner child adult, again, it's about you owning the prefrontal, owning yourself, owning all of this, and not being manipulable in the way that I hear so many people thinking humans are. It's actively quite ridiculous, might I add. The level of lack of intelligence that humanity in the academic sphere, the ones who tell it, they're not all there, but that Zen master, some of journalists, some of neuroscientists, some of it. So the strength of you being you is your human makeup is a nervous system. You being able to own all of those child parts, having the sense of self, yours is a journey for some. For others, we didn't have to do a journey because I chose my humanity when I was a adolescent and I didn't follow the crowd. And as my facade friend is with these other people, letting me know of things he never even once spoke to me in my face. I don't believe in God. I don't believe in spirit, mystic, magic, none of them, whatever. I'm like, huh? And all these years, we've been talking hours and hours, and this is not something that is in the air. I woo-woo pseudoscience because I respect science. It's not because my mystical spiritual experiences mean less to me. Also, by the way, spiritual and science doesn't actually have a competition. God created us in the image and how he wanted. The fact is, I don't understand how people don't know we move forward with our brains. So when somebody's telling me that manipulation and manipulating consciousness and make it sound like they're transforming us, I get how the left brain is thinking because the left doesn't know how to use the right when it's like that. Oh, they're changing us. Okay, dude, you're a cellular process. You obviously don't know biology at the basic foundation, and your mind must have lost itself somewhere. Oh, I'm so sorry. There are those who go to the museum that wants to say Darwinism is not a real thing. So anytime somebody wants to tell me science isn't a real thing, I just leave it alone because I'm grounded in reality and I know what data is and quantitative, qualitative, and again, this we'll talk about this one at some point. But we will be back with more in the meantime. I must go. I love to be here with all those of you who are going to be back. Thank you for tuning in. Like, share, and subscribe. It'll help the channel grow. Again, not anyone has to do anything and be in their restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating life. No, they can continue being modulated, dysregulated, and like those facades, continue to be paused selves. I have an entertainment thanks to them, and so do you, because otherwise I wouldn't have stories to tell you. And the option for you tapping into your own infinite higher human consciousness is not a must, as God keeps telling me. Stop judging human suffering. They're not wasting their time, Maria. They obviously have something better to do with their life, and you have too. So let's get on with it. Thanks for stopping by.